Hello, my name is Fiona Gill, and you are listening to a podcast for the ILM Level 5 School Business Management Diploma. The podcast covers the Unit 3 Module 1 topic on working with stakeholders, and I will be talking about my own experiences around these topics. I will discuss my SBM reflections on how I understand the concepts, tools and theories raised within the module. This includes how I have applied them within my professional practice, developed my own skill set through doing so, and had an impact on my school. Firstly, I would like to briefly introduce myself. I have worked within education since 2002. Starting first in the Children and Young People Directorate and then moving into my current role as School Business Manager in 2008. Previously to this, I worked within the Ministry of Defence and for a private sector company, managing the finance department and salaries. I have completed a degree in School Business Management with Manchester Metropolitan University and completed the Level 4 CIPFA certificate in School Financial Skills. I also studied the Level 4 and 5 Diploma in School Business Management through the National College. Module 1 of Unit 3 ILM Level 5 covers key concepts to contribute to your role as a school business manager in working with stakeholders and considers the aspects of stakeholder relationships and various strategies to consider for productive and positive engagement. First of all, I want to encourage all of you in whatever role you have currently or in the future to take time to engage with all stakeholder groups in your organisations. Always keep in mind that one of the great rewards, and yes, some days difficult part of our role of the school business manager is the diverse nature of stakeholders and the subsequent levels of interaction, staff to pupils, staff to staff, staff to senior management team, staff to governor, staff to supplier, staff to contractor. Interaction is not just face-to-face, but via telephone, meetings, training, events, presentations and assemblies, coffee mornings and open days, online meetings, emails, IT media, text messaging, and the traditional favourite, the letter home to parents. To do this effectively, you need to reflect on the importance of stakeholders and why they matter. Well, this is simple. Without stakeholders, there would be no organisation or school, no matter how great the improvement plan is. It is crucial to our school's survival to have pupils in the school and to offer parents the reason to send their child to our schools. We know that as staff we need to engage with each other to ensure that the job of educating the pupils gets done, and that accomplishing this means the pupils will stay in our schools. Governors or trustees are important in leading the strategic direction of the school. We need the suppliers to deliver catering services, paper or whatever item we need that week. The Education Funding Agency or local authority will decide on money to give us for capital projects, but consider also all the other stakeholder groups related to the school. Equally important are the neighbours, the extended services provider or the healthcare professionals. With the fast-paced changes of the education world, you never can tell when you will need to negotiate support for a project, and it is always easiest to start off with people wanting to help your school and you as the SBM. This does not mean that on a daily basis you need to interact with your neighbourhood community or make a cup of coffee for the speech and language therapist when he or she turns up. What it does mean is that you need to consistently engage positively and respectfully. One day you may need their influence to drive a change forward. For example, ignoring a neighbour's request to send out a letter about dangerous parking outside the front school gates may save you time in the short term, But what about when you put in for planning permission to erect your new sports hall? What support will you get from the aggrieved neighbour? Naturally, the complexities of stakeholder relationships have widened with different types of schools being introduced into the educational arena, and a need to be accountable to parents, the Department of Education, Ofsted, financial auditors, the trustees and governors and the local authority, and so on. With accountability comes transparency, which means providing stakeholders with detailed data and information on the management of the school. This is evident through the performance benchmarking websites, the requirement for both maintained and academies to publish pupil premium grant outcomes, the requirement for academies to submit returns to Companies House and publish accounts on their school websites. So we can witness the interaction and interweaving of all these stakeholder relationships on a daily basis, both in and around our schools. Therefore, where do we start as busy school business managers to ensure that we engage effectively with all groups? My tool has been to keep an updated list of stakeholders, and therefore when a project or issue arises, I can quickly cross-reference with the list and check that all stakeholders have been informed or consulted with. I find it valuable to have a defined list of the stakeholders involved in any new school initiative. Who will I need to talk to, negotiate with to achieve success, either directly or indirectly? This in turn will lead on to developing positive stakeholder relationships. We know from our learning on teams that groups who feel valued and consulted are more likely to be proactive towards the development. At any opportunity, I will arrange for stakeholders not just to relate to me and my role, but with each other. For example, in my school, our parents' evenings are well attended, whereas the parent coffee mornings arranged had not been, resulting in wasted time in organising mornings where literally one man and his dog would turn up to. In addition to this, in a recent questionnaire, parents had stated that they did not know who the SMT were and what the Chair of Governors looked like. I therefore organised a coffee and chat around the parents' evening. Parents, governors, community organisations and staff all had the opportunity to meet over coffee and get to know each other more. And the best thing is that this was all witnessed by the pupils, who saw all these different people who have an input into their lives on a daily basis, getting together, communicating and sharing knowledge. My advice as a school business manager is to always take every opportunity to enrich all stakeholder relationships within the school. The influence and power for each stakeholder group is a shifting sand, and therefore you never know when a new government agenda may bring a currently distant stakeholder to the fore. In conclusion to this module podcast, you should be able to relate to stakeholder engagement with the Unit 1 topic, personal effectiveness, in ensuring you have good communication skills, time management and other techniques such as assertiveness. Stakeholder engagement also employs team leader skills in understanding roles and interaction. Why do stakeholders matter is a very important question for you to reflect on. And in your school, are the stakeholders all treated fairly and equally? Recognising and thereby acknowledging that staff as well as governors, parents as well as pupils, suppliers as well as contractors, they all matter and have a stake in your school. We have come to the end of this podcast. If you have any questions specific to this podcast, please send me an email. For all other questions, please ask your National Schools Training Tutor or the Programme Coordinator. Further discussions and debates can be posted onto the online forum, which encourages collaboration, shared thoughts and questions. Thank you for listening to this podcast. I hope that you found it helpful.